Now this is epic. So I just did a video about the Bank of International Settlements. You can pretty much put them in there like this with the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. So you have the BIS, the World Bank, and the IMF. These are all the globalist, elitist institution of central bankers extraordinaire. It is the central bank of central banks of the world, so to speak. So in other words, for all intents and purposes, these are the experts of all experts. If you get into this club, anything out of your mouth has got to be the truth. You are golden. Whatever you say must be right, because you are at the top of the top of the top of the pyramid. So let's just see how smart these guys are. IMF pronounces Bulgaria's banks are safe just 2 weeks before a bank run occurs. Roughly a month ago, IMF bureaucrats released an official report which stated, among other things, that Bulgarian banks are, quote, stable and liquid. Plenty of money, liquid, got plenty of money, very stable. Talk about epic timing. Because less than 2 weeks later, Bulgaria's banking system was in the throes of a full-blown crisis. There was a run on two of the nation's largest banks, several $100 million, and had been withdrawn in a matter of hours. And the Bulgarian central bank had to step in and take over both of those banks, or risk a collapse in the entire system. This is the modern miracle of fractional reserve banking. You deposit 100% of this amount of money today, of $10,000, we immediately will have it on standby to loan out 90% of what you just given us. You will be left with $1,000. We're taking the $9,000 and lending it out. You don't know that, and when you log in to your account, it does say you have $10,000 in there. And if you ask for a statement, it too will say you have $10,000 in there. But everybody that banks with us gets the same treatment. We take 90% of your money, we lend it out, but on paper, on digital letters across the screen and numbers, it says your money's there. And if no one's looking and no one else is standing in line in mass to get their money out, you know, just a normal everyday banking situation, let's say, where I got to go and pull some money out. Yeah, I got to get some money for this now. And you decide, let me just see if my 10,000's there. I need to take my 10,000 out. They'll say, okay, we'll take care of you. Nowadays, you may find that they actually tell you, well, we can only give you $3,000 out of this branch, but there's another branch, you know, 3 miles that way. I'll call them now to see if they can give you the remaining 7,000, because we can give you 3,000 now. And you may find that that second bank may or may not have that exact amount sitting there waiting for you to give out, which is then going to make you say, I'm one person out of thousands and thousands and thousands of people who bank with you. My little $10,000 is almost nothing compared to what you probably have in this bank. Why do you only have $3,000 of my money when I'm looking here on my account live on my phone while I'm sitting in front of you, and it says there's 10,000 here right now available. Available balance, $10,000. I put it in here last week. Why isn't it here? I'm one guy. What about this person? What about that person? What if they all wanted their full amount back? Then what? Don't ask that question. That's not a question you want to ask the bank. Because the average person at a bank, including the local branch manager, and don't know anything either. They probably don't even know about fractional reserve lending, and it's 90, you know, it's 9 times whatever the value, or you know, they lend out 9 times of what pooled money they have in the accounts, and the accounts is your account and everyone else's. So a bank run occurs when people get a little nervous and realize that situation I just gave you, that little example, and say, that doesn't sound right to me. I'm one guy. How do you not have just my money here right now? You mean I've got to wait several days? What do you mean you got to put an order in to get the, what? That's what they told me many, many years ago when I pulled most of my money out of the bank. This branch doesn't have it. But the other branch, we can give you, you know, 3,000, whatever it was. And I think the amount I was taking out at the time was around 12,000. Those were back when the Google days, Google money. When I was telling you, made all that money online, the internet, back in 2005. Yeah, those days are over. But at the time, because I got some very big checks from Google from the ad revenue on my websites, man, do I wish those days were here again. But you know, I had some extra cash is what I'm trying to say. And I was told then, we can only give you, you know, 3 from this branch, and that branch of theirs only got 5. So I'm gonna drive around to this branch to get some of it. I'm gonna drive to that branch to get some of it, and then I'm gonna, or I can wait 3 days from now, Tuesday, whatever it was, or Wednesday, and get the whole thing, because you can put in an order with whoever you're, you know, corporate, whatever. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll just wait. I'm not traveling all over the face of the earth to get my money. I can wait a few more days. And I waited, and they put in the order, placed the order for Step 4's money, and I got it, cash, put it in the safe, etc. And from that day forward, I knew I will not be keeping the majority of the money that one owns or has in the bank. You keep enough money in there to take care of your monthly bills, maybe a couple months worth of bills, and that's it. Have a few thousand, whatever, a couple, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, whatever. That's it. The rest of it, as I've been telling you, I go and get silver, 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 silver. If the IMF just releases a statement, the Bulgarian bank, these 2 banks, whatever, everything is great, everything's fine. And then 2 weeks later, are you telling me 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, bank's insolvent, got to be bailed out, both banks, by the Central Bank of Bulgaria, when just issued a phenomenal statement from the IMF that everything's fine here, and they have plenty of capital and liquidity. Everything's good. Everything's not good, because the problem with fractional reserve lending is the whole world uses the same system, fractional reserve lending. Keep a fraction of your depositor's money in your bank at all times, a fraction, and I mean a tiny fraction, as I just said, 1/10. 1/10 of what they're supposed to have. I shouldn't say supposed to have, because the rules of fractional reserve lending state you can lend out 90% of the money. So bottom line is, a fraction of the money is being kept at the bank while the rest of it is being out on loan. And kind of like the derivatives crisis, where when one chain, so to speak, blows up on the derivatives market, it's a daisy chain of events. One after another will fall and collapse. And so will your retirement, so will your 401k, because they're all tied to those instruments. Insurance is not going to be able to be paid, also known as credit default swaps, because the same banks that are risking, betting on this high risk deals, bonds, stock market, whatever it is that's high risk, they're issuing each other the insurance contracts, which are these credit default swaps, which are not called insurance, specifically because if they are called insurance, then they have to be regulated as such, which also requires them to have a nice sized nest egg sitting aside so that they can in fact pay when a claim is due. But since that's not the case, and they're credit default swaps, there's no money set aside, so when pretty much the tiniest amount of claim is due, it's going to be catastrophic. And then since that participant can't get his or her money, or the bank in this case, can't get their money out of the insurance claim, because the insurance company, which was another banking institution, goes bankrupt, then that bank cannot pay its bills and its obligations to the next party, who they happen to also sell credit default swaps to themselves, and that other party also had some blow up in their face, so they need to claim insurance from you, but you can't pay them because the first guy didn't pay you. See how this works? This is very complicated. It's like, whoa, you're hurting my brain. Stop. Just stop for a minute. Okay, let me make this simple. If you have physical gold and silver at your house, in a safe, whatever, hiding somewhere, everything that I've been talking about won't matter. credit default swapped, high risk investment, bond market. None of it matters. You're safe, you're secured because you have the asset in your possession at your house. You don't have a piece of paper that says you own some gold and silver somewhere, or you've got a bond of such and such that pays this in. Here's your bond here. You're gonna get paid on this every month, and at the end of the bond's life, we pay you back in full the amount you've lent us. Okay? But if that bond goes away because the company that issued it has some major financial problems and they have to default or file bankruptcy, that bond just got devalued heavily and now you just got screwed. That's why you have to have physical assets. Lindsey Williams was told this by his elitist friend over and over and over and over. The only thing that will save you is gold and silver. I've said it on these damn videos for so long. If I had a silver ounce, 1 ounce of silver for every time I've mentioned that, I would have a lot of silver and I would be extremely happy with that. I wish, as a matter of fact, I could get 1 ounce of silver every time my sorry butt spoke words of wisdom on this video, on these videos. But that's not the case. And I do need to give a shout out to some girl, lady, I'm not sure of their age, but I'm sitting there reading my email the other day. Someone sent you something farms chick. I forgot what the name was, like organic farms chick or organic chick farms, something weird like that. You know, it's kind of, I thought it was spam at first. I'm like, what is this Bitcoin? And I read it, I was like, what? Someone just sent me a quarter of one Bitcoin through, I think it was Coinbase. So I'm reading it, wait a minute, this is legit. Hey Joe, you know, thanks for all you do. I appreciate your advice and blah, 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 you know, something like that. And I'm like, So I click on it, it's definitely legit. I transfer it to my Bitcoin wallet, a quarter of one Bitcoin. Okay, that was like 160 bucks. So I was like, damn, man. So give you a little shout out, appreciate it, thank you, you know. Your kindness does not go unseen and unnoticed by me. Man, like I say, I appreciate it a lot. And you know, I do use that money. Sometimes I gotta buy a new camera, some new, you know, computer hardware or something. You know, I'm doing videos or some software, you know, you name it, stuff like that. But you know, thank you, appreciate it. Just had to get that out at the last minute because I keep telling myself, man, I need to say thanks to this person, and I'll start the video and I'll think while I'm first starting the video, at the end of the video I'll mention it, you know, I'll let her know thanks, and then I forget. End of the video, I'm ranting about something, I just stop the video, and then I upload the video and I'm like, shoot, I forgot again. Now I'll do it next time, you know, next video. And then I forget because I did the same thing. I'll say it at the beginning, now I'll save it for the end. This time I finally remembered. And just in case you're wondering, this is the second video today. So my first video, I remember myself, say thanks in the beginning, right off the bat. Forgot. End of the video came, turned it off. Oh my God, I forgot to say it again. I'll turn the next video on and say it immediately, which is this video, which I forgot again. But I caught myself at the end. So, thank you very much. Appreciate the little donation. And, you know, I've had people actually tell me, you got to put a little donation link at the bottom, you know, description if you appreciate Joey Snip, send a donation. I don't know. Maybe I should. It's not like you have to click on it. I do this for free anyway, so I enjoy waking people up to what's going on, keeping people informed to what's going on. And of course, more importantly, how to protect yourself. And it really is as simple as I say it is. Gold and silver will do the job just fine. But if you want to do better than just fine, stick with silver. Silver is going to outperform gold. It's coming. And I don't know if you saw the market here the last couple of days in the precious metals arena, but they took a nice leap forward. Right after I did that video, as a matter of fact, I was talking about, you know, how's July looking thus far. And then the next day, you know, yesterday, today, you know, gold and silver is up pretty decently anyways, you know. Seemed like it couldn't get above $20 for a while. Now think it was like 20, 30, 21, 30 something at this point for silver. Gold was 1340, I think, at one point. It took a huge leap forward. So I'm not waiting for like a big crash. If a big crash happens at this point, I'll find a way to get some more silver. You know, if they do a big slam one last time so that they can then go out and buy on the cheap, they as in the elite, one final time before the prices rise, in that case, I'll go find a way to buy some more silver. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and issue the buy sign for everyone now. If you're waiting on the sidelines too, I'd probably go ahead and go and buy some. I just do not see this ending well for other assets. And I hate using the word asset because when you see what happens to all of them, you're going to realize, why were they ever called an asset? It's just a piece of paper, apparently, that people sold. And keep in mind, money does not disappear. So all this money you hear in the stock market price or the price of a bond or whatever it is, money does not disappear. It goes somewhere. So if everyone's invested in the stock market, and the big guys I was telling you about, the multi-billionaires and the tens of millions of dollars earners every year, the elitists, when they pull their money out in advance and then the market collapses, everyone's going to be affected except them. So when they bought all their shares many years ago, when they were way cheaper, and they put millions and millions of dollars into those shares that have now ballooned and skyrocketed 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times higher than when they first invested in them, thanks to your money going into those investments at the same time, causing the prices to rise, they've now taken the lion's share back out and left you with the paper bag that's empty. So your money didn't disappear, the price really didn't go down, it's just that they took out the lion's share, which causes a stampede of sellers, and sellers get nervous. It's human reaction behavior, common, very common. And I'll just sell, I'll take the loss, get me out of here. And then the next guy, oh my God, it's getting even worse, getting even lower. I can't sit here and take this either. Sell, market price, whatever. And then the price goes down more, while the elite are laughing their asses off all the way to their banks with your money. So how do you stop that from happening? Buy gold and silver. Because you're going to be able to laugh your ass off on the way to whatever bank is left that you decide to use when this is said and done. Take care.